There's one thing above all that I've gotten from reading all the books that I've read in the past 2 to 3 years about self help, spirituality, esoteric knowledge, and everything in between. This one thing has allowed me to reshape my entire life. A couple years ago, I found myself in a jail cell where I started to look for different answers. I started to read. I had never read it in my life. I've never read a book from front to back and actually enjoyed it without being kind of coerced into it from school or yeah, just school. There's no other reason why I read a book back then. But I found myself in that jail cell and there wasn't much else to do. So I started to pick up books. At that time, it was novels and whatever I could get my hands on in the jail. But once I moved on from the jail, I found myself in a rehab center on the search to get my life back together. I started to pick up books like Infinite Potential by Neville Goddard and a lot of other books on similar topics, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. These books really blew my awareness wide open and made me realize this one thing. Everything we're looking for already exists within us. The power to change, the knowledge, the information, it all exists within us. I realized pretty quickly that everything I was reading wasn't necessarily new information. It came to me in my body in a sense of a feeling, a realization. It made sense, and it didn't feel like new information. It felt like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I can do something with that. That already exists in here somewhere. Maybe that makes sense, maybe it doesn't. But through reading all of these books, I've realized that I have the answers. If I can sit with myself and pull them out of me, if I can learn how to orchestrate my mind in a way that allows me to move, I will move through my problems. Back then, I was in and out of jail, on the run from recovery court, drug court, probation, the state of New Jersey, the state of Pennsylvania. I was, my life was on fire. I was in turmoil. Like depression, anxiety ran rampant. Addiction, rampant. Fentanyl, meth use, drug dealing, just a crazy, wicked lifestyle that I had only gotten to because of my unchecked emotions. The state of my life back then was created by my inability to sit with myself, my inability to really question myself and have a dialogue with myself, my inability to use my mind in a constructive way. I had no idea the power that lies in our mind. And for most of us, it lies dormant. We don't understand how to be mentally fit. We think the game of life is hard, but we don't understand that we can get better at it. I don't want my life to necessarily get easier. I don't think that's any fun. When I think of that, I think of playing Grand Theft Auto with all the cheat codes. It's cool for 5, 10 minutes, but after that, it's like, what am I doing? I want to get better at life. And through reading these books, I've come to realize that everything I need to get better at life already exists within me. And through the process of using my situations, circumstances, and the emotions that come up, I'm able to make massive change. I'm able to change the being that I am, the person that I am. I'm able to build character. When I look at life as a creator, as cause instead of effect, I'm able to change. We don't get what we want in life. We get what we are. So how do I become what I want to become? Because everything outside of myself is cool. I love buying a new car. I'm excited to buy a new house. I'm excited for all the material possessions. But at the end of the day, what I'm really searching for is freedom, is peace, is joy. How do I access those things before life ever gives me a reason to? Or how do I practice feeling those states of consciousness before I ever have a reason to? Because if I don't practice that, I'm going to continue to live in the habit of practicing whatever emotions I'm used to practicing. Back then, I had practiced depression, anger, frustration, lack, doubt, scarcity, fear, survival. And it took me a while to start to practice peace, happy, joy, all the things that we want to experience, freedom being the biggest one. I had lived in my own prison way before I ever got to jail. I lived there for over a decade. I was constantly looking for a key, a way out. But where I was looking for it, I was never going to find it. It didn't matter how much money I made, the amount of drugs, how high I got, the success or any of it. It didn't matter because what I was looking for lied within me, and it still does. And the better I get at accessing it, the better my life gets. We have the power to change our life. Are we willing to take that step inward to change it? Are we willing to put down the distractions to change our life? The books are a great medium for doing that. But what you're looking for isn't going to come from a book. It just isn't. That can be a vehicle towards what you're looking for and help you with the process of self-inquiry, with self-examination, with restructuring your inner world. I will always recommend reading. Read a book. It will help you, even if it's a novel. Sit down and learn how to focus in a direction, in a creative, constructive way. That is a beautiful power, and most of us have set that power aside, and we're just caught by shiny object syndrome and constantly scrolling. What you're looking for already exists within you. You can get there from reading, from meditating, from self-inquiry, from journaling. But the biggest thing I'm trying to say here is if you can practice sitting with yourself and practice feeling the things you want to feel before you ever want your life to change, before you ever get to experience your life changing, your life will change. It's this paradoxical process of do the thing that you want to do so that you can do the thing that you want to do. Be the person that you want to be so that you can be the person that you want to be. It all starts from within. And this is what Dream on Purpose does. We break down how to understand our mental landscape so that we can use the tools that we all have. We all have the power to change our life. The dreams we have, the goals we have, they're all nudging us in the right direction. And if we could just understand the rest of our mind and how to use it instead of being used by it, we'd make massive change in our life. We align with those dreams and those goals and pull ourselves closer and closer every day. But without understanding our mental landscape, without sitting down and being able to step into our mind, step into our inner world, you're never going to get there. You're not going to find the freedom that you're looking for out there. What you're looking for is a new character because the character you're playing doesn't feel right. So how do we build this character? It has to come from real world experiences. It has to come from failure, from taking an L, from winning. It has to come from real life. How much time can you spend with yourself? How much time can you sit and get to know the version of you that you would like to become? Because if you are the sum total of the 5 people you spend the most time with, make sure one of those people is a future version of yourself. I had a conversation with a really good friend of mine the other day about how do you get through these tough times when life gets heavier, when you move to that denser energy of, problems in your life, conflicts, and just not being sure where you're going, kind of feeling lost. How do you know where to go? And I had to sit with that for a second and break it down. How have I done that? Because in the past couple of years, I've overcome fentanyl addiction, opiate addiction, meth addiction, addiction in general, addiction to a lifestyle that was damaging me, and a bunch of other addictions. I've overcome depression, anxiety, frustration. I've put my anger in check. How did I do it? I did it by spending time with this future version of myself. I created a North Star version of myself, a version of myself that I could sit right, always in eyesight, in mindsight, and ask it, how do I handle this situation? How would I handle this situation if I was this future version of myself? And this is what I mean by the answers are within you. This future version of yourself only exists within you, in imagination, in spirit. So how do you access it? You have to be willing to sit down with it. Too often are we trying to get out of our head. You can't. You can't get out of your head. You're not going to. People always say, oh, get out of your head, get out of your head. You look like you're in your head right now. I am. But that's been my biggest strength, is being able to go in my head, go into my imagination, go into my mind, and figure out what is not aligned. What beliefs and patterns and perception do I have that is not aligning with the life that I want to live? What story am I telling right now? Because if you can't get out of your head, you better damn sure make it a nice place to live. Make sure it is a happy place to live. You can access heaven or hell right now, and it's all within. I know this was a bit of a ramble, but I love you guys. And I really just want you to understand that all that you're looking for exists within you. And if you could just understand how to pull it out, how to allow it to flow out, your life would change in a glorious way. I love you guys. If you're interested in talking to me, check the Discord link down below. Message me on any of the social medias at Dream on Purpose Coaching. Dream on Purpose.